We are live.
Hey, I'm back.
You're back.
Back from my week off.
Welcome back, John. Oh, wait, you're
No,
Sean. You're the other one.
yeah, yeah. John's not here.
Yeah.
Because hey, congratulations to John.
Yeah,
Uh,
congratulations.
he got married yesterday,
This
Thursday.
morning, I think, wasn't
Oh,
it?
this morning, really?
I don't know. It might have been yesterday.
It was. I mean, it was probably on a weekend, right?
Yeah, that's what I think. I would
Yeah.
assume.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think because I texted him congratulations when I was seeing stuff on Facebook and whatnot, and I was like, I doubt things would have been uploaded to Facebook like on the wedding day, right? Like he's probably super
Right.
busy.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Confirmation.
Yesterday. Okay. Well,
Cool.
yes, congratulations to John. Where's John now? Is he traveling now?
No, I think they're still in Calgary with probably family. I think he's going maybe tomorrow or Monday.
Over to Europe, right?
Maybe? Yeah.
Well, I know his honeymoon is Ireland,
Yeah, Ireland. Yeah, yeah.
which is Europe, obviously.
Yeah. I think it's the maybe on the Monday, but I'm not 100% sure because I know family came up or down or whatever for them here. So I'm sure they didn't want to just come up for the wedding and then leave after one day. So they're probably
Sure.
just entertaining for the weekend.
Told he's doing a stream event tomorrow, then leaving next week at some
Okay.
point.
Cool.
Well, again, yes, congratulations, John. So John will be away for a couple weeks,
Yes.
doing life stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big week for the top-down perspective, boys.
Yeah, it is. Because you have some news as well.
Yeah. So if anyone didn't see my Twitter last week, I got a new job, and I now work as a video producer at GameSpot,
Yeah.
which is totally insane.
Yep.
Like really insane.
Yep.
But
Especially,
I mean, you've known about this for a bit.
yeah, but if only they knew the behind the scenes. That's why it's insane. It's like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this summer sucked. So my old job, I lost. I got let go. They downsized,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which for those following my life, I'm obviously here on a visa, and losing your job on a visa
Is bad.
is
Yep.
really stressful because
Yeah.
there's like a deadline for when you have to leave the country.
Yeah.
So I like came down to the wire of like whether I could still stay, whether I had to go back. I was talking with lawyers and stuff. It has been a stressful 2 months because, finding a job is already kind of stressful. But when you have a short time commitment, it is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is awful. So I had like a solid 2 months of just constant stress. And like I said, John and Paul, they obviously knew about this. I was talking to them
Sure.
off the show and stuff. But yeah, every week it was just like, hey, what's the update? What's the update? And then just randomly near the end there, GameSpot appeared, and I was like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm going to end up at GameSpot. That's insane. And then it worked out,
Yeah.
and it was absolutely crazy. It was
Yeah.
weird.
It sounded like a process too. That like just that one place getting
Yeah.
into. So
Going
that makes
through like
sense.
recruiters and stuff. I mean, I
Yeah.
had weird processes with several job applications and whatnot. It's funny that because I know you guys talked about Telltale last week, and we're going to talk about Telltale again this week. I had straight up applied to Telltale
Oh,
multiple times over this summer.
Oh
They
no.
had been hiring people. I could have been one of those people. I was definitely sending resumes to them and filling out their application forms.
Can you
So-
imagine your luck? Holy shit.
Like, oh yeah. Well, I mean, and you heard like news people coming out being like people were hired like this week. They relocated across the country for Telltale, and they've just been let go.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, thankfully when I got let go, it was nowhere as bad as this Telltale situation sounds.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, ending up with GameSpot is very cool. I think just kind of obviously, like, it's obviously somewhat of a dream job because it's GameSpot. Like,
Sure.
if you're listening to this podcast, you obviously know what GameSpot is, and you know how big that is.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could just go to GameSpot.com and find out. Like,
I guess, but I just don't think there's any way they find this podcast without already having the knowledge of knowing what GameSpot is. Like, that's an odd person.
Well, I mean, I don't think you find this podcast without knowing who John is for sure. You might not know GameSpot, I guess, if you just went through John.
I guess I feel like if you're in kind of like the Let's Playing circles and stuff, you'll come across GameSpot.
Yeah, could be.
Right.
I don't actually know what the kids know and do these days, so who knows? Maybe. Either way, it's very cool.
Well, I guess at least for like me and my friends growing up, like GameSpot was definitely like the place.
That's what I mean, is that I think they might be a relic from our internet.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully they're not, because I just started working there. I hope they are not just a relic.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they're going to Telltale anytime soon. So I think you're good. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I now work at GameSpot. Like I said, I'm a video producer. You're not going to see me like on camera or anything like that.
Right.
I'm not in an editorial role and whatnot. I am strictly just kind of like behind the scenes and whatnot.
Sure.
But I'm going to be trying to get my hands in as many pies as I can. I'm going to try and do a whole bunch of stuff there. Just make it happen. It's a cool office. Yesterday was Bring Your Dog to Work Day, so there was dogs there.
Okay.
What else can I say about that? Friday's Bagel Day, so you get free bagels.
Okay.
But just kind of working with video games every day, or like all last week, I was just walking by people that were playing the new Assassin's Creed, and I was just like, "Oh, cool! I'm just gonna watch this for a couple of minutes."
Mm-hmm.
It is definitely a very cool experience for sure, and I am stoked on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Big congrats to both of you.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, why don't we do the podcast?
Okay.
It is September 29th. This is the Top Down Perspective. I'm Sean Booker.
And I'm Paul Fleck.
Like we said, John will be back. I don't even know when John's back.
Yeah.
Paul, what have you been playing?
So I downloaded this free-to-play MOBA on the Switch, and it's kind of fun. It's called Arena of Valor, and it has a terrible pricing model, as all free-to-play stuff does, where they expect you to buy the hero, and it's only when you own the hero that you actually, like, level that hero up anytime you play it, but they have a free rotation that you can just, like, fiddle around with and stuff. But I think the thing I like about it is that there is a 3v3 skirmish mode, which is just a quick, like, 5-minute game, essentially, of you getting in with 2 other people on your team against 3 other people, and, like, against their base and 1 tower, and you have a base and 1 tower, and you just fight each other. That's all it is. So it's just a fun little thing to play when I just want something to play for, like, 5 minutes before going to work or something.
Sure.
So that's all that is. We should talk about Dragalia Lost, because I've been playing this, and first of all, I'm going to say fuck Nintendo for not putting this out on Android in Canada, but luckily I have an Android device, so I just downloaded it anyways through other means than the store and have been playing it fine. It's annoying because I can't attach my Nintendo account, meaning I don't get the friends benefits from it.
Okay. Well, I don't think this is a Nintendo issue. I think this is just you live in Canada, so of course you're second fiddle.
Sure.
But to be fair, there are definitely games that come out in Canada first because you're a smaller market.
Yeah.
Like, didn't you get Pokemon Go first?
I don't remember.
I think you did.
I remember having to download that out of the store as well, like from a site, and installing it separately.
Well, anyways, I know you guys in like New Zealand, smaller markets, you do sometimes get some games first. But yeah, so I can't do the my Nintendo account link either.
Weird.
Because it won't let me tie my Nintendo account to it because my Nintendo account is Canadian.
Oh.
So I actually think I need to wait for it to go live in Canada as well if I want to tie my account to it. Okay. But I also do not care.
That's really funny though. That's real funny. Anyway, so first things first, it's a weird gachapon RPG game that controls a little better than I thought it would, because I thought it would not at all.
Like I was saying when we first, or when we saw that big Nintendo Direct about it,
Yeah.
it's a lot like Pokemon Quest and Cat Quest.
You mean Pokemon Rumble, right?
No, Pokemon Quest.
Pokemon
That
Quest.
was that's the one where you just kind of watch them run around, right?
Oh, okay. It is kind of like that, but it does have kind of the Rumble thing of you're actually controlling what they do and then like attacking by tapping or whatever. But it's very minimalist.
Which is why I did the Cat Quest comparison, because that's basically exactly like it. And Cat Quest even has when the enemy attacks, you see where they're going to attack, and you want to try and get out of the way.
Sure,
it is very Cat Quest like.
Okay.
You can do more kinds of attacks in this one, which I like. There's just the tapping to attack. There's special attacks you can use. You have several different special attacks. Cat Quest has just like the one attack and then like a hold to do a magic one. It also doesn't have like the rolling out of the way dodge.
Right.
So I like the combat in this one better.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty satisfying.
I kind of just don't like gacha games for the most part. It's like such a commitment every time I load up a gacha game. It's like, are you ready to just like grind out and sink hours into this to do the best? Because I know I'm not going to put money into it.
I mean, theoretically, it's the perfect platform for it, because I always have my phone on me, and I always just play around with something while I'm waiting for something to happen on my phone. And it could be this. So
sure. Part of me does wish, though, I could spend, $4.99 or whatever to not deal with like annoying free to play stuff.
Have the full version, essentially. Like, I wish I could just buy it.
Yeah. Which, that's Cat Quest. If you're wanting that, go play Cat Quest.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like. There's so much going on with Dragalia Lost. There's all the things we just mentioned, plus a storyline that it's a visual. It's almost visual novel, and how long some of these like cutscenes are.
Too long. I think they're too long.
I think some of them are too long as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's like upgrade weapons, upgrade your characters, upgrade your dragon, upgrade your wyvern card, something, upgrade your items. And it's like, there's like a gachapon game for every single aspect of this. And it's like, oh my God, there's so much to this game.
Yep.
And part of me is just like, I don't want to devote the brain power to all of this.
Totally. Yep. From the chat, also all your characters have story missions, or have a story mission. So yeah, it's a crazy undertaking. For what it is, I still think that's fine, because it'll take up time when I'm not doing anything else. I think, I don't know. The cutscenes are terrible, like how long they are. I think the ones that are actual animated scenes with the little 3D chibi models and stuff are cute, and I think those are worth watching. The dialogue stuff, I kind of couldn't care less, but this is the first time that the skip function I've seen in a game actually just give you like, okay, here's a gist of what you're skipping. This happens, this happens, this happens, we're going here. Let's go. And like that's
very cool.
That's a thing that should just happen in every game, because sometimes it's like, I don't care about your story. I just need to know why we're going to
the major events,
the Wandering Woods or whatever, like whatever magical place you're sending me to. Like, what did you discuss that is the reason why we're going here, and what are we looking for? Done. Like, yeah. So I think that's really cool, and it's kind of I don't know, it's kind of a neat way to get around the problem of having a whole bunch of useless stuff I don't care about, because I can just push that button and get the information I do need to care about what's going on or whatever.
I wish the levels were longer.
Yeah.
They're super easy and super like straightforward and short. Again, the combat so far, maybe it gets way harder, and that's going to deal with the grinding. The combat's also pretty easy. There's never once been a scenario where it's like, oh crap, I need to make sure I like got my dodge ready to go. Like, I don't think I've ever gone below 90% of my health yet. And if that ever happens, I can turn into a dragon twice, and there's no way I'll lose while I'm in dragon form.
Yeah.
So maybe like later on it gets harder, but it definitely does not seem that way.
I kind of hope it does get harder. Like,
yeah,
it's a little too mindless. especially because I think, like, I've seen people say the contrary, and that's fine, but I was expecting this to control like shit, and I think it controls kind of okay. Like, I haven't had any issues with it.
I think it controls fine for sure. It also has the auto battle feature, so it just turns into Pokemon Quest.
Yeah, sure.
Which tells me there's going to be some grinding to come.
Totally.
If the game is already saying like, hey, we will play this for you, there is going to be a heavy amount of grinding.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
But again, like kind of like first glance at this, I think if this is your first gacha game, you will stop immediately because it is overwhelming.
There's a lot. Yeah.
It's overwhelming for me, and I'm familiar with these styles of games. Sure. I could not imagine this being your first one. Like, again, there was like 900 systems, 900 ways to evolve something or transfer something into something else.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy. But again, it is a free-to-play game, so if you're wanting this to take up a lot of time, that it'll do that for you.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just not in a place where it's like there are other games out right now.
Yeah.
And it's like I could play 5 other games, or I could dedicate my life to Dragalia Lost.
Totally. And I think that's kind of where I'm bouncing off of it too, because even when like I'm at work, which is the perfect place to like maybe play this when I have downtime, I have a lot of downtime when I have downtime at work, and I can't waste my battery because I need it for what I do. So it's like I can't really plug it in because I got to move around at work as well. So like even playing this at work, it's like, well, I could play this for like half an hour, drain most of my battery, and not be able to listen to podcasts for the rest of the day.
I haven't really noticed.
It wasn't doing too well for me. Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I just got
like a brand new phone, so my battery is fantastic. So I have not noticed that at all.
It wasn't the worst battery drain I've ever had, but yeah, it did some work.
Oh yeah, in the chat, don't forget about building and upgrading your castle. Yeah, like I said, there's a million things inside of this game.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see like if you were a kid and you don't get tons of new games often.
Sure.
This would be great. Like this, if you want to devote hours and hours into this game, there's hours and hours into it for sure. But yeah, as someone who knows, like, I'm just playing this game to kind of check it out and see what it's about and whatnot.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to play it for that long. It's like I'm already starting to bounce off it a bit.
Sure. I like these types of games actually, just for what they are. They're a time waster, and that's fun to me. So yeah, I like it. I really like seeing that Nintendo can just do a mobile game instead of like try to pigeonhole one of their other IPs into a mobile game. It's kind of nice to just see them do what is obviously going to probably be huge in Japan. Like this has all of the makings for like Japanese people to just be obsessed with it.
Well, it has everything Fire Emblem Heroes had, and isn't that like by far their most profitable mobile game?
Yeah.
By like an order of magnitude at this point.
This is much more mobile gamey though than Fire Emblem Heroes, even by far.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of these exact games elsewhere. I'm sure this is basically a clone of something else that I haven't played that's enormous in Japan.
Sure.
I see ads for or whatever.
Yeah, it's just nice. It's just kind of cool to see their hand at that because like. It's kind of new territory for Nintendo. They've like ported other stuff and made like mobile games, but they haven't made like a mobile game yet. So it's kind of neat to see how they do that. And that's this. So,
but again, and just personally though, I kind of almost wish it didn't have those mobile game things. Like every time it adds on a new system.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Like the free to play stuff.
Yeah. Like every time it adds on a new system of like, well, why don't you just like take 2 swords and make one sword eat them so it's a stronger sword? And it's like, can't I just like get a new sword? Like, why do I need to go through 8 steps? I don't care that much.
This is where we differ because this is what I'm looking for a mobile game.
Okay.
Yeah, is that stuff. I want something to waste time for the next like 3 years. I don't need another one of these. And that was Summoner's War for a while, and then I got sick of that, so now I guess it'll be this. So,
I guess my ideal version of this game is just the quests. The only button on the home screen is hit quest, You can even keep all the story stuff. I like story in games. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the only thing you can do is hit quest and go to the next one. And then if you wanted to make it extra good, all the time you spent into the other stuff, which I'm sure is 90% of the development time,
Sure.
you make the quests better.
Or just longer or something.
Yeah,
that
that, yeah.
That is my problem with it too. Is that every time I go into a screen, it's too short.
Yeah, like I enjoy playing it. It's just stupid easy.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to get to the point where it's going to just be a grind.
Yeah.
But when they were showing it off originally, there was like the trailers was showing like tons of your friends coming in and fight, like raid style kind of stuff going on. So I'm kind of curious what kind of events they might have planned. That seems kind of cool. One kind of pro tip. First off, this game is almost 3 gigs on iOS. And then you can, every time you start a new quest, you have to download like a couple megabytes worth of data. You can just go into the settings and tell it to download everything.
Yeah.
Up front, which is great because that was super annoying. Like, why didn't you just give it to me all at once? Which basically means this game is easily over 3 gigs.
Yeah.
So it is a meaty game for sure.
For sure. Yep.
But it looks fine. It basically looks like the Final Fantasy remakes on the DS. That's that exact art style. I think it sounds good too. The voice acting, the music's cool. So I enjoy that part for sure.
Yep. Yeah, no, I like a lot about it. And I'm sure I will be picking at it. I do kind of wish that I could attach my Nintendo account to it for like anytime they want to do like a promotion thing for whatever, like a new costume or like, I don't even care what. I just wish that it bugs me that I don't because I have all my other ones attached to my Nintendo account. So I guess when it officially comes out in Canada, then I'll be happy as a clam. But at that point, I'm going to have to start over again, in which case I might just forget it completely.
Yeah.
So
that is definitely another step.
Like, I've tied this to my Android account, like my Google Play game, whatever, that gives you like a level anytime you get achievements through it. So I'm hoping there's a way that when it comes out in Canada, I can download that official version and then just transfer from like my Google Store account or whatever to it. But that might be a little hopeful thinking. So we'll see.
This game also, I think it needs to be connected to the internet at all times because I couldn't even start a quest without an internet connection.
Okay.
Which I was like, oh my, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a bummer. I didn't realize that.
Was super annoying. Yep.
Bummer.
And that was Dragalia Lost.
That's Dragalia Lost. Let me tell you what's not a bummer. Survival horror is still alive. People are making good survival horror games because I've been playing Colina Legacy, and it's kind of dope. It is a game that plays a lot like Alone in the Dark, where you have a flashlight, and that is in the way that like Fatal Frame, your weapon is a camera and taking pictures of ghosts and stuff. In this, your weapon is your flashlight, and you have like different... It's super...
Like an Alan Wake.
Like in Alan Wake, it's very Alan Wake-like as well. The difference is that in Alan Wake, you just have the flashlight. In this, you have the flashlight, but you also have this amulet of like a god or something that you put over the flashlight and like change the beam to different colors that do different things. It's like... It's kind of corny, but I love it because like you need this one color to be able to like read this certain thing on the wall. Then you need this color to actually do damage to certain enemies. And then you need this color to be able to like bring life back into these weird dolls that like point in different directions to show you where to go in the house. And like, it's weird. It's a weird thing, but I've really, really been enjoying it. It has a lot of like Resident Evil type DNA in it where all the horror is based on you being at Granny's house, essentially, waking up after like falling asleep in the back of your parents' car on the way to Grandma's house to see like
so you a kid?
You are like maybe I think 13, like a teenager, young teenager. You fall asleep in the back of the parents' car. You're going to check out what's going on with Grandma because like she was acting weird on the phone or something with your mother. And you fall asleep and you wake up in her bedroom and everything's just like fucking creepy, and there's a doll in
Haunted.
the corner. Yeah, it's like a haunted house basically. And I really really like it because as you explore, you get new things to like go back to different places in the house, and that's like the Resident Evil part where you're kind of backtracking and moving around and exploring more and more of this house, and it opens up and you get all these weird secrets. And yeah, where Resident Evil or whatever goes into the dumb like pseudoscience weird zombie creating machine like virus thing and blah blah blah. This is very much more supernatural, dealing with like gods and cults and eldritch horrors and stuff, and that's much more my jam when it comes to horror, like for lore wise stuff. So it's like super corny, and every note is a fucking book. Like every note is super long, and it has all these names and places and things going on, and there's just like so much in this, and it's like exactly what I'm looking for in a horror game right now, and it's been really really fun. So I highly recommend people check it out if you like survival horror games. It's called Colina Legacy. That's Colina Legacy, and that's on Steam, and I think some other stuff, but that's where I'm playing it right now.
Is this better or worse than Alan Wake?
It is like an indie version of Alan Wake.
Because I love Alan Wake.
This has some more jump scary stuff, which you might not be into.
No.
Yeah, okay. So for you,
Alan
it
Wake,
would be
you get
worse.
a flare gun that you can use against enemies, which
Yeah.
is really awesome. And then there's that one where like the chapter ends and he's like falling off the cliff and that music's playing. Alan Wake's really good.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very good for sure. Alan Wake, like this is like an indie
Where's
game.
my Alan Wake
to
2?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Telltale's making it.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, that's all I've been focusing on this week, though.
All right, what have I been playing? Okay, I was going to talk about some of this last week, and just moved it forward. I played through the Gardens Between.
You played through it. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's about 4-5 hours long.
Oh, okay.
It's a short game. Yep. This is a puzzle game, all about time manipulation. If you think of that like one level from Braid, excuse me, from Braid, where when you're moving to the right, time goes forward, and when you're moving to the left, time reverses.
Yeah.
It's entirely that. That's the mechanic.
Okay.
Except you're on like a polygonal kind of spiraling island, so you're kind of often trying to like make it to the top of this tower or to the bottom of this island or whatever it is. So you're constantly kind of wrapping around and whatnot. And then there are a few mechanics where you can interact with different objects and they'll kind of work outside of time. Or so let me think of an example. There's like a frequency changing thing, and if you interact with that one, you can choose which frequency to go to, and if you put it on the right one, it'll like shatter a glass, which might open up a path when you start walking again. So stuff like that, and it's good. It's enjoyable. The puzzles they're not super difficult, and there's only so much you can do with the environment. So if you get stuck, you can kind of just go back and forth until you see like the one or two things you have access to manipulate with, and you can usually kind of figure it out that way. So getting stuck is almost non-existent. My big gripe with it, and it really kind of left a sour note in my mouth every time I played it. So a lot of this game, you'll be walking to the right until you basically hit a wall, and then you're like, okay, well I missed interacting with something, so you need to walk back, and the walk speed is so slow.
It is slow. Yeah.
They do speed up the reversing, because I'm sure they did notice like anytime you're walking backwards, you're basically seeing things you've already seen, so you just need to kind of get back. Like you probably have something in mind, so it is a bit faster, but it's still not fast enough, because a lot of this game will be like, okay, wait, this thing's jumping around. I need to see exactly where this thing ends up when I get to it, so I need to follow its entire path. Okay, now I need to go back, and I need to make sure I interact with it at this moment, because a lot of the puzzles will be something like you have like a light sphere in your lantern. But if you walk past this like dark flower or whatever, it'll like take away your light, and you need this light past the flower. So you have to put your lantern in a spot so that it goes a different way, and then you guys can like reconnect with your lantern past that flower. That's a very recurring puzzle. So a lot of the times it's just kind of like I need to kind of watch how this island works, go back, go forward, make sure I have it down, go back one more time, proceed to the next checkpoint. All right, now let's do that again, over and over. And it's slow. And as much as I'm enjoying the puzzles and I'm enjoying the levels and stuff, watching this like back and forth at this pace, almost like it gets boring, which is a huge bummer because I like the little kind of narrative going on. It's sweet. It's like these two kids kind of going through like their life together as friends, living as neighbors and whatnot, and hanging out in the garden between their houses. That's kind of the metaphor and whatnot. And so, I enjoyed the game. I like the gameplay of it, but then the pacing of it is so slow that it became kind of hard to get through to the end. Luckily the game's short. So it's not a drag, but if it was like, an 8-hour game, I don't know if I would have finished it.
Yeah. I found this boring. I started it and I was just like, oh no, there's other shit to play.
Like I said, it is a slow pacing to it for sure.
Yeah.
I know it's on PC and PlayStation. I'm playing it on Switch, or I played it on Switch.
Okay.
So, be that what it is. That's called The Gardens Between. I'm also playing through The Messenger. I'm not at the reveal yet. I still don't know what that is, so no spoilers.
Okay, what part are you at?
I'm at a snowy mountain.
Okay.
I'm assuming I'm close to the reveal.
Yeah.
Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Is it the end of this level, the reveal?
Maybe.
Okay. Don't tell me. Thanks. That's good of you. Don't tell me. I don't want to be spoiled or anything. So, I will say that shopkeeper is awesome.
He's really good. He's a good one.
He's so good. Like, maybe like best new character of the year or something.
Yeah.
That guy his interactions with the messenger are so funny.
Yeah, they're good.
And not even like the fourth wall stuff. I don't care too much about that. That's kind of easy humor.
Totally.
Just they're both just kind of witty, and they're both like just kind of dealing with how weird this world is. I love it so much. I love the stories that'll be like what, and the messenger will be like, wait, there's no moral to that story. Like, what am I supposed to take from it? And he's like, I don't know. What do you want? You wanted a story. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's
maybe there's no. Maybe that's the point. Is in it, like, it is so good. I love when you get the it's like the claws that let you can wall jump and you can hang on a wall, and the messenger's like,
yeah,
so claws, right? And he's like, yep. Kind of seems like something I probably should have known already. Oh well, you couldn't do it because of the story yet. Wait, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I'm constantly loving every time I get a chance to go to that shop, hoping he has more to say. It is very funny, and the music is fantastic. Loving the music too, especially the shopkeeper music. I'm definitely glad that one is so good because you go back there so often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is just an absolute jam.
I have one issue with the shopkeeper area, and that's it breaks my brain because I'm so used to entering a door and moving to the right, and you start on the left of the room. So I always
you start on the right of the room.
No, you don't. You start on the left. Or no, sorry, the other way. You have to go left into the room.
You have to go left.
So
I'm used
to holding right because I'm used to starting on the left and moving in from like every other game. So I always like leave right away when I enter, and it just breaks my mind.
I don't have that issue whatsoever, but I guess I could kind of see that. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of what I'm playing on the train at the moment, so I'm not playing a ton of it at once.
Yeah,
but it's good. It's having a fun time, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it for sure.
I really like in that game every time you get an upgrade, like an item or whatever, to traverse the world. It just feels so good, like getting a new thing to move around. You
get the I'm just gonna call it the grappling hook.
Yeah,
there's
totally.
a joke from the shopkeeper that's like, don't, whatever. Everyone's gonna call it the grappling hook anyway.
It
And it's
totally
like,
is.
you're totally right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called like the rope dart or something like that.
Yeah, because it's a rope dart. Like that's what it is.
Like, yeah, but the shopkeeper even knows like everyone's gonna call it a grappling hook.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yep.
So yeah, Messenger, enjoying that quite a bit. Last game I played, and I played through this yesterday and finished it up this morning, is the episode 1 of Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
Which I have been excited for this game to come as a while. If you know me, Life is Strange 1 was like my game of the year. That year came out, or the year it came out.
Yeah. So I need to know from you, because I haven't. First of all, I forgot all about this game, and then somebody's like, "Yeah, that's out tomorrow." I was like, "Oh shit! Well, I'm not playing that this week. I guess it'll be a little bit." So I'm glad you played it, and I need to know: is it any good in the way that like I have a lot of shit to play? I'm not even kidding. I have a list of at least 5 things I want to get to like in the next couple weeks. Is this worth taking the time and like spending the money on right now?
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
Okay.
I liked it.
Okay.
And it's an episode long, so you're looking at maybe 3 hours. Like it's an easy commitment. It's not a huge thing to get into.
Sure.
Maybe play some Dragalia Lost less and play this instead. Yeah, it's good. It definitely feels different from the first one, because so the short setup of it is you play as Sean, a 16-year-old boy in Seattle, along with his younger brother who is like 8 or 9, Daniel.
Okay.
And Daniel's the one with the powers. You don't have the powers this time. But Daniel's like a little kid, and he doesn't really even know his powers and stuff yet. Like they just start to form in this episode.
Okay.
So the entire time of the episode is even outside of the powers is you kind of deciding how to teach Daniel kind of how to grow up and live. Because these boys are on their own for reasons I won't get into. But it's kind of like a big road trip game as they go down the west coast of the United States. I will also say, game very political, which I was kind of surprised to see. Also, kind of like glad to see a developer taking such like a hard stance, one way or the other.
I'm not interested at all anymore. Okay.
Okay.
I'm so done with politics.
Well, I'm going to continue. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad to see the developer kind of taking a hard stance with this, because not a lot of developers would,
Sure.
hoping to, not offend anyone. But this one, they're definitely on one side of it. Even like the big like conflict in this episode is on the other side of it and stuff like that. These characters are of Mexican descent, so that comes into play in these politics and stuff as well.
Okay.
So it definitely feels kind of topical and real in that way. They get into even kind of the politics of Seattle and Washington and how that's state is like split up and whatnot.
What year or time period does this take place in? Like, is this modern day 2018 sort of thing?
It's got to be 2016.
Because
they even reference like the presidential election and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Like your friend is like text. So the text messaging is back, which is great.
Yeah.
When you load it up for the first time, there's a ton of messages for you to read. So it's just like, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna get into that again.
Okay.
And your friend and like your friend is literally like, there's no way he's gonna win, right? And stuff like that. And I was like, wait, is that what I'm thinking it is? So I believe it's 2016 because like I said, Sean is 16-year-old, and you can see his license, and he's born in the year 2000.
Okay.
So yeah, like I said, the majority of the game, the drive is you kind of teaching Daniel about growing up and living in kind of your new situation you guys find yourself in. So it's a lot of like, kind of when he's trying to just act like a kid or whatnot, you need to kind of decide how stern you're going to be with him, or if you're going to let him be a kid and stuff like that. And that's a lot of the decision making, which I'm curious to see how that'll manifest down the road. But it is definitely kind of cool that you don't have the power this time, but you're kind of nurturing the person who does have the power. And I can only hope that that'll again manifest in a cool way going forward, and because the like next time on, it even seems like Daniel's getting a better grasp of his powers, so it's definitely going to be a thing you guys will be using in the future, is what they're hinting at. But yeah, I enjoyed that first episode. I thought it was solid. And I think if you liked the first Life is Strange, you'll probably like this one.
Did you play that whatever awesome Captain Spirit thing?
I did. Good question. Doesn't come into play once.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay.
Which I'm surprised. Like I'm still super curious how those will connect in any way, because it's a completely different. Those characters aren't even in this.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering. Yeah.
Like, did you play Captain Awesome? Captain
No,
Spirit, whatever it was.
It looked terrible.
No, it was fine. That thing's like an hour long. It's a completely different kid who, I guess they kind of seem like they have similar powers. I don't know. It's hard to say because the powers in Captain Awesome, is it Captain Awesome or Captain Spirit? I can't remember. It's the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Okay.
The powers only show up at like the very end for like a brief moment, so it's hard to tell what that kid's powers are.
Okay.
But they do seem kind of similar. It's not like one is like, I have fire powers and I have ice powers.
Yeah, exact opposites.
Yeah. So I'm curious how those will relate, because they got to relate in some way.
Probably.
I wish I could remember what town or city Captain Spirit was set in.
I'll quickly look it up here.
Although I know in episode 2 of Life is Strange season 2, it is going to be winter, it looks like. And I know the course of Life is Strange 2 is going to take place over a full year. And in Captain Spirit, it was winter time when you were doing it.
It takes place in Beaver Creek, Oregon.
Okay. So in my game, I'm in Oregon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one thing that is kind of fun, it does tie into Life is Strange 1, just the smallest bit. They ask you at the beginning, how did Life is Strange 1 end for you? Like, which choice did you make?
Seems kind of weird that they couldn't find like a way to hook that in to read it, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Like, check your save, you mean?
Or like an achievement or something? I'm not sure how you would do it, but sure.
They probably could have checked the save, but I guess this is just like in case you played it on a different console.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whatever. They have the option. So you can say what you did, what choice you made at the end. And that plays a small little role in the in episode 1, which again I won't spoil for people.
Okay, neat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Soundtrack again, real good. They have everything you want from Life is Strange. They got like the cinematic shots. They got a lot of kind of quiet moments of you just like seeing the scenario and the person thinking in their head a lot. Instead of playing music like Max would do, you'll draw kind of what you're looking at.
Okay. Cool.
So there's a lot of down moments, which I appreciated from Life is Strange.
Sure.
And another really good title card. They always make great title cards, which I personally like quite a bit.
Yep, I agree. Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, that is the episode 1 of Life is Strange season 2, and that is all I've been playing. That's all you've been playing, right?
That's it.
Let's do some news.
Yeah, I gotta look these up.
Yeah. Discord. This was announced a few months ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Excuse me. They're going to start curating a storefront, and they have announced the first 7 games that are going to be in their store. I'll just run through the list here. Last year, The Nightmare, which I don't know what that is. King of the Hat, which I believe was in a Nintendo Direct. We've seen that before.
Okay.
Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption. I don't know what that is. At Sundown. No idea what that is. Bad North.
Familiar.
Which came out on Switch a few weeks ago, which I think looks awesome, and I'm very excited about that game.
It does look cool. Yep.
Mad Machines, which I have no idea what this thing is either.
A brutal ball sport game, apparently. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm looking at in this thumbnail.
Yeah.
Anyway, Minion Masters, which isn't that the Skylanders font?
It looks like it.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
So those are the first 7 games that are coming. they've curated it in some way, so hopefully they're good.
I'm kind of interested in some of these, mainly because I'm always intrigued when I haven't heard of a game at all. So like this last year, The Nightmare, I'm gonna maybe looking. What the fuck? It looks like almost like Dead by Daylight or something, but you play like a superhuman killer. Weird. Okay, sure. I'm gonna guess Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption is a Souls-like game because it very much has that look about it. Yep, it is. So there you go. Cool. Okay.
We got the PlayStation Plus games for October.
Yeah.
It's Friday the 13th, the game.
Best way to play that game when you don't have to pay for it.
Laser League.
Ooh.
Or whatever that is.
Yeah, that's a hard game to explain. It's a like party game with a bunch of laser beams and you're on 2 different teams and you can't like hit the opposing team's lasers that they set up to try to kill you and vice versa.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Master Reboot. The Bridge. Rocket Birds 2 and 2064.
2064 is really good. Read-only memories. So
yep, I've heard that for sure. Didn't like an updated version just come out on like the Switch?
That is the version, yeah. 2064 read-only memories. So that's cool. That's neat.
And then games with gold, we have Overcooked 1, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Victor Vran.
Yeah, Diablo-like type game.
Okay, all right. Stuntman Ignition and Hitman Blood Money.
Oh, the good one. Well, the one people always say is a good one. I think they're all kind of okay.
I think the good one is like the most recent one.
Right? Well, yeah, totally.
I think that is the good one.
But I mean, the reason it's the good one is because it took a lot of the lessons learned from Blood Money. So that's the original good one.
Konami announced that they're doing some HD versions or HD versions of Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood under the Requiem name.
Yeah.
Which makes me think they might do more of these under like the Requiem name. Maybe that's like a thing they're going to start doing. Who knows? But those are like seen as like 2 of the best Castlevanias. So
yes,
that's cool.
And
that's coming to PS4.
Was there a better way to play Rondo of Blood recently? Because that was PC Engine. So like it wasn't really accessible when it came out. I'm sure it must have released on like a version on like a DS or something, right?
Yeah, I think I remember hearing people talk about like it was on WiiWare and like that was like the best way to play it or something.
WiiWare, huh? Interesting. Okay.
I may be remembering that wrong though. Maybe thinking of a different Castlevania.
So I mean, it's Rondo of Blood is Dracula X for anybody who might be like a little confused or whatever. There is a like hacked ROM version of the Japanese Dracula X fan translated from Japanese that you can like download or whatever. And that is the 1-to-1 version of the PC Engine copy, and that's dope as hell. So I'm like super stoked that they're actually releasing this officially. More people need to play that. And apparently it was on the PSP as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
PSP and Wii, yep. All right, this might actually be like the biggest news. Fortnite, they finally got Sony to fold.
Yeah.
They did the impossible. It will be crossplay everywhere. And not just crossplay, but cross-platform. Your account will work, yada yada. And I don't have the actual phrasing in front of me. I've just been hearing. I was just hearing it like on podcasts and whatnot. The press release that Sony put out during this was pretty silly, like regarding their like change of stance. And you know, just kind of saying this is not a great story. But anyways. That's happening. I'm surprised it even took this long, but hopefully it'll mean other games will follow. Rocket League, hopefully.
So, like, I need everybody listening to just think for a moment. Fortnite is big enough that they were able to single-handedly finally cause enough people to be pissed off to get Sony to change this when this has been a thing people have wanted for so long from other games. That's how big Fortnite is too big. That game is way too big for its own good. That is a popular thing. But yeah, this is absolutely amazing to me. And especially because like their fucking thing that they said is like, oh, this represents a major policy change. Like, fuck off, Sony. Flip the switch. Let people play together. Who cares? Jesus.
Yep.
Amazing.
I know personally I would love if they did this for Overwatch.
Yep.
And like
Rocket League.
Rocket League.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All of them. For sure.
But anyways, yeah, it finally happened. That's cool. I'm sure there's a lot of people excited about that.
Yeah. I'm excited about this new piece of news that was brought up. So Nintendo did come out and clarify, because they did terrible in their direct about this, that yes, your cloud saves will last 6 months. They will not lapse immediately if you miss payment. So there you go. I think that's important. Yeah.
Yep. That's good. The other systems do that.
Yep.
Okay. And then, yeah, so the Telltale stuff. Do you want to kind of do a brief overview of what you guys talked about in case they didn't listen to last week's episode?
Sure. So like previously on Telltale's ridiculous bullshit, I guess, the company lost major funding from one of their people that, I think it's Lionsgate Entertainment or whatever. They lost major funding, and because of it, they had to do mass layoffs, even though they thought they were able to continue on long enough at least to finish their stupid Minecraft Netflix thing, and of course The Walking Dead. But instead it resulted in mass layoffs and a lot of like really shitty stuff, not being able to pay people out for their severance or any of that sort of stuff, like actual legal problems that you can get into when you're a company.
Right. I think one thing that I actually didn't grab or was said last week was that they are being sued with a class action lawsuit about doing this much of a layoff with no heads up is I guess illegal in California. I'm obviously not the person to know really.
Yeah, it's under the WARN Act, the Worker Adjustment and Restraining Notification Act of 1988. So basically, they broke a pretty major law for workers' rights, and they are being taken to task for it. I think the funny thing to me is that they actually had the audacity to just be like, we're going to keep 25 people on to get this Netflix thing out. And it's like, well, what?
Right. And the Netflix thing, which I had completely forgotten, and we did talk about this on the show, was putting their games on Netflix. Like you can just somehow play the game through Netflix, not on a console. So I guess that is still happening.
Yeah, and then
that's what the 25 people are there for.
And then they were saying how they were going to look for funding to finish off The Walking Dead season whatever. Like
the final season.
Final season
is the 6th Walking Dead game.
Okay.
From Telltale.
So, and this caused another outcry of people being like, here's an idea, get funding to pay your fucking workers severance and the shit you owe them.
I was seeing the most insane tweets from people being like, they should just finish it for free. They should just love the game and do it for free. Modders do it for free. And it's like, are you high? What do you
modders these people do have it for free?
These people have families. Like, holy smokes.
Oh, I love that. As if like modifying some files and changing some textures around is the same as building a fucking game.
Yeah. But like just the idea of like they should like this game enough to do this insane workload for free, which it was documented these people were working like 50, 70 hours weeks.
Yeah.
And then crunch kicked in. Like that not even that was considered crunch yet.
I mean, the problem, that's a video game industry thing problem, though. That's a thing that happens, and that's gross.
For sure. Like, that sucks. That sucks. Mm-hmm. And I think this Telltale stuff is just kind of like the perfect storm of everything coming to a head at once. Totally. Like I even said, I was applying to Telltale. Like, they did not update people about this. There was clearly people in the dark. They were seeing green lights go for everything. Because you would have figured they would have stopped hiring people if they were this in the tank.
So it did sound like they did lose their funding out of nowhere, and they probably didn't know about that part of it. The problem is that it sounds like it was so badly managed forever that like it was going to come to a head at some point, and it just finally did.
Like I remember one of the original things that came out was, and again, apologies if you already covered this on the last week's show, but only the first season of The Walking Dead and the Minecraft game were profitable.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, they made so many other games? Like,
yeah,
like I said, this is the 6th Walking Dead one alone. Like, how did they keep going?
Yeah. Like one of the things we talked about last week, and like just so you're part of the conversation as well, is how John and I were saying, like, we've dealt with, I mean, you were part of this too. We've dealt with their PR before to like try to get them to talk about them on TDP or for whatever like outlets we were writing for or whatever. And they've always been really gracious and been like, yeah, you can stream this or whatever. And it's like, they're in a weird way. I think, first of all, they obviously were spending too much money on getting licenses to try to like make a thing that they thought people would be really into, like Game of Thrones, Batman, all this sort of stuff. So right from the get-go, it's going to be harder to make up that money, just period, because of that and like any voice actors and whatnot that you're getting to fill roles or whatnot.
Apparently Batman did terribly.
Yeah, for sure.
They did a sequel. Like, what? Who is saying yes to these?
And then you have then they're trying to get hype about these games, which is fair enough, and you're giving out to influencers of any kind versions of the game for free, and they are sharing it with people. And because their thing is the story, I'm sorry, if I watched a Telltale game, I'm not going to buy it myself. I saw the thing that it does. I'm not going to play it through myself. And I think, I don't know how you do that, because it's like you should probably use influencers to market your game, but how do you do it in a way? You can't just
be like, don't stream this.
Yeah,
that doesn't go well for you.
It's a weird thing. It's almost like but
to be fair, like theoretically, I guess in practice we know the answer, it doesn't work. But theoretically, someone would watch this streamer go through this game, and then they would go, "Well, I want to see what my experience would be like with it," because you can get different endings for some of those games.
Yeah,
like that's the hope, right? And as we saw, it doesn't pan out.
It doesn't,
unfortunately.
It's, if anything, it almost seemed like it would have been a good time for them to maybe talk with like Twitch and streamers to come up with an idea where it's like, well, if you're going to stream the game, like, you're going to pay like a rebroadcasting fee or something where it's more expensive, but the streamer's going to
going over well.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
It depends.
Like,
yeah, the thing is that it would keep little people, like, it would keep people that only get like a couple hundred out because they're not going to make any profit on it, but it would still get the bigger streamers that get like 30,000 people and like kind of make up the difference, but probably not.
They won't pay it. Like, whatever, I'll go stream something else. Like, there's so many games. I'll stream anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know like what you do about it, but I don't blame anybody for not buying a Telltale game if like they watch somebody play it at all. So I don't know. It's weird.
Episode 2 came out either this last Tuesday or the Tuesday before. I think it was this week. I think it came out last Tuesday.
It was this week, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which that sounds like it might be the last episode. There's some talks of Telltale saying that they have other potential partners stepping in, saying that they want to help fund the finale.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why anyone would do that.
Yeah, no.
When it has been reported that these games do not sell. Every one of these games comes back at a loss. Why would anyone step in? Yeah. There's also reports of Telltale saying this is not going to happen. I guess some weird questions is, what if you bought the season pass? I guess the first thing they always do when they release these games, episode 1, is you buy the whole season up front if you want. Do those people did they just buy a $30 2-episode thing?
Yep.
Like,
I think so.
And I mean, there's no way you're getting a refund. These
Nope.
people didn't even pay overtime or severance.
And if they declare bankruptcy, you're just period not gonna get one. Like that's just the way it is, and nobody's gonna force them to. You just wasted the money, and that sucks.
So this is like an ongoing thing. I'm kind
Yeah.
of curious to see where this lawsuit kind of ends up, and I'm sure more things will come to light in the next weeks or so.
Yeah.
Uh,
What a bummer.
Super weird though.
So there is one plus to this, and that's without like a lot of the people. I really hope ex-Telltale people get together and do a Kickstarter for something like real cool, unshackled from like having to do a Game of Thrones or a Batman, and just like do a real cool story thing.
I mean, I'm sure the usual like come work for us.
Oh, that's already happened.
That's already happened.
Yeah.
There are so many game companies in the San Francisco area. Take it from me, I was just going through, looking at
going through the list.
Going through the list. There's so many here.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone ends up on their feet, of course.
For sure.
But like there was developers talking out on Twitter, like I forget what the woman's name was, but I believe she was one of the writers, and she was basically saying like, I'm in a weird place. I want you guys to play episode 2. Like we put a lot of work in. Obviously they had all their overtime. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into this next episode. But at the same time, she does not want you to give money to Telltale because Telltale hates its employees.
So, like, how well do you think episode 2 does? I'm curious now. Is it like a morbid fascination of, oh, I want to buy and check out Telltale's last thing? Or like, or
I don't think it does very good. Like,
yeah, I don't think so either.
Like, because who's buying in on that at this point?
At this point, yeah.
The only people who are playing that are going to be less than episode 1, right? No one comes in halfway through a season. Mm-hmm. So you already had your peak numbers with episode 1. So it's going to be less than that, obviously, because it only goes down.
Yeah.
And then like I don't think anyone's hearing this news and being like, oh man, I can't wait to
the new Telltale
through 2/5 of this series. Like,
yeah,
as someone who values stories in game, who's played a lot of Telltale games, I don't want to play the final season at all because I know it's unfinished. Like it doesn't. Yeah. It's not even gonna get to like an engaging middle aspect of it, like a dark middle chapter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be this. It's like who wants to read 2/5 of a book?
Yeah, they just like rip it in half after that.
Exactly.
Or
it's like, and guess what? You will never get to know what happens left of this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that. Okay, why would I pay for that at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also just kind of like, divorce of all of this. Do I want, like the developer was saying, do I want to give Telltale any money? These people clearly hate these human lives. Like,
yeah,
whoever's in charge of Telltale seems like a kind of a scumbag.
I think it's a lot of scumbags. Yeah.
Obviously, that's what I mean. Yeah. Just like the management there was so terrible. Poorly handled that it's like, part of me wants to vote with my dollar. And it's like, I don't want to give you guys money. I would rather, see where these devs are going and maybe play their next game.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. That's totally a thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, super bummer news. Like, yeah, I couldn't imagine. That was insane.
Yeah.
In weirder news, KFC announced a new gaming division named KFC Gaming.
Yeah, aptly named, I would say.
I'm trying to look at this little teaser trailer they put out. It says Player 1 has entered the game. KFC Cross Gaming, a match made in heaven. What does this look? And then so this teaser has Fortnite. And then a weird colonel coming into a wrestling ring. And then a weird fighting game of Ronald McDonald versus the colonel. Have you watched this?
Yeah.
I haven't watched this yet.
Oh, okay. It's a bunch of different game moments in different competitive type games, somehow relating to Chicken and the Colonel. Yeah.
AFC Gaming, Player 1 has entered the game.
Yeah. So it hasn't been described what they're going to be doing, like fully with this, but apparently this is a thing. So there you go.
Yeah, this is weird. Okay, well, KFC, man. And last bit of news, this and the last one was from Discord. Thanks for sending those in.
Yes.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has apparently exceeded sales expectations. So a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is possible, says Monolith Soft.
Okay.
Which great.
Sure.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
I didn't play those games, but I know they are clearly popular.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Congrats, guys. You did it. You got another. Good job.
Well, maybe. Like,
yeah.
It's a maybe. All right. Let's move on to some questions. If you want to send a question in, it is topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Facebook group, the Discord channel, and John's P.O. Box are all great ways to do it. I'll read this first one from Eduardo. What are the main differences between Western RPGs and Japanese RPGs?
Usually, I mean, besides Japanese RPGs like to do weird story things. I feel like there's more character drama, like specific, like maybe it's just a personal bias. I like characters in Western RPGs more. Japanese RPGs seem to be archetypes of like a type of characters, where Western RPGs kind of focus more on like that specific person or people or whatever. Like there's a turn-based thing, which is the obvious one in that regard, I guess. They do a lot of that stuff, and yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's kind of muddy, frankly.
It's definitely kind of muddy. If I'm kind of just thinking of it briefly, I'll consider it a Japanese RPG if it is anime.
Okay.
Like
sure.
if the art style is anime, I'm thinking it's a Japanese RPG. Which of course, I mean, there's definitely been RPGs developed in the West with an anime art style. That's just one thing I typically lean towards.
Sure.
I'm trying to think. When I think of Western RPGs, I definitely think of more kind of like CRPGs for the most part.
Okay. Sure.
So I think of things like Dragon Age.
Okay. Yeah.
Like those, more stuff like that, and then you get into Mass Effect, which is more of a shooter, but it has plenty of RPG elements. Like RPGs are everywhere. So I'm trying to think like what is kind of like a big Western RPG. What's a big Western RPG franchise?
Okay, so
it is RPG.
Well, when somebody says like name a Western RPG, it's Mass Effect and Fallout that instantly come to mind.
Okay, which I would almost argue those are shooters with RPG elements.
Fallout is not a shooter. Fallout 3 is a shooter.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm thinking of more recent Fallout.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm thinking Fallout. CRPG Fallout.
Okay, sure. I can see that.
Mass Effect is definitely more of a shooter, but like I'm thinking Mass Effect 1 because of just like the systems and like how you level up and all that sort of stuff that they kind of take out later and streamline.
Okay.
More so than anything.
Yeah, I think it's just so like everything has RPG elements in some capacity, right? You know, I was just playing The Division. You level up, there are skill trees, like everything has RPG. Like Forza Horizon 4 is coming out. Actually, it came out yesterday if you have the Ultimate whatever. Every single car has a skill tree. Like
yeah.
It's everywhere. So if I'm thinking of a Japanese at this point, if it was developed in Japan, it is a Japanese RPG. Like
totally.
That's the only way I can say this is a Japanese RPG.
Yeah.
And then again, kind of the anime thing for the most part, which most of the time RPGs developed in Japan have a strong anime aesthetic.
Sure.
That's how it's kind of worked out.
But I mean, the waters have been muddied. Like I used to, when you would say like, what's a JRPG? I would think anything by Square Enix, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy.
Exactly. I would think Final Fantasy, does it play kind of like Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
I would think JRPG for that part. But I would almost just say, if in the past, I would have just called that RPG because that's what RPGs were. They were like turn-based, story games. The main character was a dude with a big sword.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And then this next question is ridiculous. What is objectively the best game ever?
Tetris. Moving on.
Sure.
What is objectively the best game ever? I love it.
Yep.
The balls to even write that in. Hebrew Lantern asks questions about spoilers. When a game is re-released, like Bayonetta 1 and 2 were re-released a few times, what are the rules on spoilers?
I think this is a good question.
Sure.
I was even just thinking about this when I was talking about Life is Strange earlier, and I was like, can I spoil the ending of Life is Strange 1?
No.
I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't. But I mean, that game is like 2 years old. It has had 2 sequels now.
So, okay. It's the actual answer is it's a case-by-case basis. And if you're talking to a person, you're saying, blah, 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 blah. Have you played it? No. Do you mind if I say this sort of thing about it? If they say, yeah, I would rather not know, it's never okay. Just period. That being said...
I mean, that's... With an answer like that, we could say anything. It obviously is subjective. Maybe to try and rein this in a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you and how do we kind of think about spoilers on the show? Maybe that'll kind of give this more of a direction.
For me, when we're talking on here, I don't want to spoil anything that subverts your expectations from what you would see in the trailers or any gameplay, early on gameplay, and I don't want to spoil any story beats that are interesting.
Well, I don't know about that, because you are giving your opinion, which won't be in a trailer.
We don't really give our opinion on here. We don't have in-depth conversation.
Yeah, of course we do. We definitely talk about whether we like this game or not, what parts of things we don't like. That's going to definitely color someone's impression of a game that they're not going to get from a trailer.
So, if I were to say what, like, the weird thing Nier Automata does, that's a spoiler, though.
Sure.
And that's what I like about that game, because I think the rest of it is mediocre at best.
Okay.
So that's where the problems come in. Generally, I think if it's a mechanics thing, you can talk about it, because it's whatever, how it feels, what you think of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'd say that's subjective, too, because there's definitely... There could definitely be like a mechanic that just completely changes something up. Like it's such a cool mechanic. Like for example, Mario Odyssey. We didn't want to talk about all of the characters you could possess. We determined those were spoiler like because some of them are just so out of nowhere. It's great to just encounter them on your own, right?
Sure.
Even if you only play as that item or ability for like 20 seconds. Some of them are just like that's a good gag. I don't want to give that away for you.
That's part of the
blah, blah, blah.
Subvert your expectations. You know you're going to take over stuff, but you don't know you're going to take over this thing. So,
right.
That's just part of it for me.
I think the way I've typically done it is if it's early on in the game, I'll kind of talk about it because you're going to get to it pretty quick.
First hour stuff, basically.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends how long the game is. I didn't talk about much of the beginning of Life is Strange episode 1.
Because an hour is like half of it.
Long.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll typically try to avoid big moments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like big story-related moments. Yeah, like it is such a subjective thing. And then going back to his question, like these are old games. And at that point, again, it's going to be subjective, but like I've heard like after 6 months, you can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting re-released. This is definitely going to be the first time someone's played Bayonetta 1 and 2. No one bought a Wii U, so it's a good chance no one's played Bayonetta 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of, you kind of have to just kind of like, or I'm trying to think what I do is like, I kind of just try to avoid major twists, avoid major story beats. And if there's something really cool that I think doesn't take away from talking about it, then I'll talk about it. I guess that's the big draw is if I feel that me mentioning it will take something away from someone who might play it, I try not to. And again, people are going to be more sensitive towards that than others. Some people don't watch movie trailers because they don't want to know a single thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch movie trailers. I don't listen to game podcasts, any of that stuff, but I don't care about spoilers.
So I mean, at some point, you're just going to have to kind of, it's on you to kind of police yourself.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But there's obviously like red flags. Like if I just randomly shouted a spoiler out of nowhere, that's just a dick move on me.
That is like actually the thing. So when a game is re-released, if you see the top-down perspective is talking about Bayonetta 1 and you don't want any spoilers, you shouldn't listen to that part of the episode. Like, you should skip past it or not listen to it until you've played it or whatever. Because there might be a chance that anything we say could be considered a spoiler if you care enough.
Yeah, but I just know, like, at least for me, when I'm listening to game podcasts, I want to hear people's opinions of it. I don't want spoilers, and I'm hoping they're not going to spoil something, but I still want to know what they think about it. And I don't want to have to like play through a whole game and then go back and listen to that podcast, because then I'm like sitting on like 8 unplayed podcasts straight before they talk about, like, I don't know, The Messenger or whatever, for example. So like at some point there's almost kind of like a level of trust between like us and the audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like we want to kind of build the trust where they know we're not just going to blurt out that kind of stuff.
Sure. It's hard. If it was up to me, it would be a month. I think after a month, if you haven't checked anything out about it, then... But it's not.
Yeah,
so
I mean, again, though, like, you know, people's financial situations, maybe they can't play that game until it like hits a greatest hits or something. You know what I mean? Like, it could be. But again, you know, you have to police yourself too.
Yeah. So a month.
Rasterman7 says, another random question: what dish would you like to be able to eat or taste someday that you haven't been able to do so before? You can also include beverages if you want. My answer for the dish is difficult. There are lots of different dishes that I haven't tasted due to different types of constraints, money, time, laziness, you name it. That being said, maybe my answer could be Eggs Benedict.
Oh.
What? Since I've never had a first-hand experience with it. Regarding beverages, I'd probably go with either wine or beer, but from a different flavor from the one I tasted. Eggs Benedict is my favorite way to have eggs.
It's real good. It's a real good way.
Benedict.
You should really try it.
It's not the healthiest way to have eggs, for sure. Hollandaise sauce is not good for you, but it is my favorite way to have eggs.
You should really try it, Rasterman. I think you'd like it.
So is there a food you've always wanted to try?
That I haven't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know what? So this is a thing I've always wanted to taste, even though I don't think I would like it very much. I've always wanted to try shark fin soup and see why they like do some gross practices with it. But like, I don't want to order it because then I'm part of the problem.
Sure.
So I would love to be able to just have that taste and know what it tastes like without having to like know that some fucking fisherman grabbed a shark, cut the fin off of it, and threw back to die in the ocean.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because like, what's the big deal? Like, I want to know why people order it and like why it's a thing, because it can't be worth like the kind of disgusting practice you have to do to get it. It can't be.
I don't know. I mean, you could say all meat is a disgusting practice, you know, depending on who you're talking to, right?
I guess. I don't know. I just figured, I mean, yeah, the way they slaughter cows in some places is disgusting as well, I guess, so. I'm
trying to think. I can't think of any specific food that I'm like, I've never had that. And that's honestly fortunate of me having lived in major cities where you have access to lots of different food.
Trying new stuff.
I live in the Bay Area, so there's tons of different kinds of people here. It would probably be more like something around the lines of like, I want like an authentic blank from where it was like from, whether it was like, you know, I want pizza from Italy or like sushi from Japan. And luckily, you know, I've had sushi from Japan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go like pizza from Italy.
Okay.
I would, you know, I hear it's the best pizza because, you know, that, you know, that's where it's from, obviously. So
what about beverages? Is there a beverage you've ever like wanted to taste? For a while, for me, it was Crystal Pepsi, because I've seen ads for it before.
That, like in the last year.
Yeah, me too. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, thanks. I guess that was one. Sure. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't know. I get just like weird sodas are always fun, but I can't really say like there's a flavor of soda I'm like stoked to try one day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been to Jasper up in Canada, and you can drink water from a glacier, and that was really cool.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. No beverage, I guess, really.
Okay. Final question from Zombie Twinkies. 2 questions. 1, Paul, what do you have against Cliff Bleszinski? Okay. I'll continue. I'll just answer. The thing I have against Cliff Bleszinski is the way that he shut down Bosky was by tweeting about it and letting his employees figure out on Twitter that they no longer had a job, and that's disgusting to me. Just the way he handled that whole situation. And I've never really liked his dude bro attitude, but I've always kind of respected how his talents in the industry, but I just thought that was disgusting. So that's what I have against him personally. 2, what game does everyone love that didn't click with you? And this is an easy one for me. It's all the Super Mario Galaxy games. I don't like them at all.
All 2 of them?
Yep, all 2 of them. I hate them.
Fallout has never clicked with me. I've tried 3. I've tried New Vegas.
Sure.
It just kind of never worked for me.
I'm sure I have more, but it's always Galaxy that gets brought up, Galaxy. And everybody does. I'm the only person in the world that I've talked to that doesn't. And yeah.
All right. Why don't you tell them where they can send questions for next week?
I don't know. I guess the internet somewhere. topdownperspective@gmail.com. You could try. TDP Podcast on Twitter, facebook.com/topdownperspective, John's P.O. Box, and our Discord. If you're not part of the Discord, go ahead and join that, and there's a little channel there. You can put it in, and we'll see it.
Yep. What's your game of the week?
I mean, I didn't talk about it. I'm going to say the end of Spider-Man. So.
I'm going to say The Messenger.
Okay.
Okay, and a bit of housekeeping. So, again, John got married. Congrats to him and Reese. John will be away on his honeymoon for a week or 2. I don't know when he gets back.
He's back on the 13th, I think. I remember. So, I guess, I don't know if he's here that week for the 12th, though, if we do the Friday. I mean, we could push it back for him if we need to. So
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
We are going to record the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon episode of TDP Plus right after this. So look for that episode if you are a Patreon backer. I did the math on the Patreon. If you subscribe, if you're a Patreon backer, you get over 6 hours of bonus podcasts. Probably over 7 once you finish Fire Emblem.
For $1.
For $1, yep. And next month, the poll ended. We will be playing through Minute, which I've been looking forward to playing that game for since it came out. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for this episode, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you. Goodbye.